Hey everyone, so today we're going to review transformations. So very briefly, let's review the four types. So if your problem says for you to translate, that's another word for slide. If your problem says for you to reflect, that means you're going to flip the figure or the shape. If you are asked to rotate, you're going to turn the shape, and remember when we turn, we can go counterclockwise, that means we go left, or we can go clockwise, which means we turn the shape to the right. And each turn is a 90-degree turn. So one turn would be 90 degrees, two turns would be 180, and so forth. Those are the main ones you'll see. And then the last one, if it tells you to dilate or if you have a dilation, you're either going to cause that to shrink or grow, and that is by the, I want to call it the growth factor, but I think there's another word for it. We'll see when we get to the problem. All right, so let's take a look at number one. Number one says triangle RST will be translated, that means slid, 3 units left and 2 units down. What will the new coordinates of triangle R prime, S prime, T prime be? So the first thing I noticed, because we want to work smarter, I noticed that all of the R prime values in my choices are different. So I'm just going to move my R. So it says go 3 units left, so there's 1, 2, 3, and then 2 units down, 1, 2. And so when I move that, I move to 0, 2. So when I look at that, the only choice that has R prime, remember that's after we move it, at 0, 2 is choice A. Okay, so let's take a look at number 2. So for number 2, it also says, and let's go back. For number 1, when it says translate, I want you to write 3 units left, 2 units down. So you want to move the point, and then read the new coordinates. And that's what we're actually going to do in every one of these. So look at number 2. So for number 2, it says to translate, which means to slide. So let's write that, slide 2 units up and 5 units right. What will the coordinates for F be? So we only want to move F. You only focus on that one. So here is F. And then I'm just going to slide it. 3 units up, 1, 2, 3, 5 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So move your point and read it. And you go start at 0, 0 to read, to the right 3, up 2. So my choice is D. Okay. Number 3. Again, we have another one that says to translate. So I want you to remember that translate means slide 4 units right, 3 units up. And it says, what will the coordinates for R prime be? So I'm writing that down, so that's what the important information is that you need to focus on. So R is here, and I want to move R, slide. It was 4 to the right, 3 up. See, and what you'll do is you'll write on your scratch paper what is important so you'll remember what to do. So 4 units to the right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 units up. 1, 2, 3. So my new coordinates are, start at 0, 0, back 2, down 1. So -2, -1. -2, -1. And that is choice D. So let's take a look at number 4. so number 4, let's read through it. Looks like there's a little bit more to kind of get through to get to the question. So it says figure RSTU is shown. So here it is, RSTU. A second figure at R prime, S prime, T prime, U prime will be graphed on the grid. Figure R prime, S prime, T prime, U prime will be created by translating. So remember, to translate means to slide. That's important. So that the image R prime is at the location shown. Here's the question. What will be the location of vertex U prime? So R went from here to here. So they want to know where U will go. So first I've got to get some directions. So it looks like we went 1, 2, 3 left. And then we went 1, 2, 3, 4 down. So I'm going to do the same thing to U and get my new coordinates. So I'm going to go 3 left, start at U, 1, 2, 3. You don't have to draw that point like I just did. And then down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's my U prime. And now I read my point. So I go forward 1, down 6. Forward 1, down 6. So 1, -6, which is A, will be my location of U prime. Now let's take a look at number 5. Now we're going to switch into a different type of transformation. So it says square JKLM will be reflected over the y-axis. So let's write that down. Reflect over the y-axis. What will be the coordinates of L prime? So that's what we're looking for. So first, where is the y-axis? The y-axis is here. Next, let's find L. L is right here. Now, to reflect means to flip. So I'm going to flip L over that y-axis. Let me get a different color to help you see that. Let's do it in, let's use purple. Okay, so to start with, L is to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So watch this. I'm going to follow that same line but move it 4 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. See how I just flipped it over? And now I'm going to read that point. Always start at 0, 0. So back 4, down 1. Back 4, down 1 to get to L prime. And -4. Oops, should be -4, -1. Which it looks like I accidentally cut my choice off, so I think that was D. -4, -1. Okay, so write that in your notes. -4, -1. Number 5 is also a reflection. It says figure QRST will be reflected over the x-axis. So this is number 6. So we're going to reflect over the x-axis. And it wants to know the coordinates of S prime. Okay? So first, I want to find my x-axis right here. That means I'm going to flip that picture or that figure over the x-axis. So I'm going to go from the top to the bottom. And I want the new coordinates for point S prime. So what I do is I notice right now S is up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But flipping over the x-axis means I go down 10. So I'm going to go down 10. So my coordinates are going to be, start at 0, 0, over 7, down 10. Over 7, down 10. Over 7, down 10. And that's going to be choice B. So same as The others, you figure out what they want you to do, you move the point, and then you read the point. So let's do the same thing here. Look at number 7. So for number 7, it says the graph shows a parallelogram. When JKLM is reflected across the y-axis, here we go. So we're going to reflect across the y-axis. What will the coordinates be of the vertices? So reflect means I'm going to flip it across the y-axis. So here's my y-axis, okay? And it says, what will the coordinates be? Now remember, we want to work smarter. Let's look just at J in our choices. 5, 1, 5, negative 1, 1, 5, negative 5, negative 1. I notice all of those are different, so I can just move my J. Now, if they weren't all different, I'd have to find another vertex or another one that is all different, but this one works. So, since I'm reflecting across the y-axis, I notice that right now J is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left. So I'm going to flip J along that line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. And now I'm going to read my point. Always start at 0, 0. So I go right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 1. So that's going to be 5, 1. So which of these has J prime at 5, 1? And it looks to me like A is the only one that has it at 5, 1, so my answer is A. So really, with these, if you just focus on one point, that's going to help you get to your answer. Now let's take a look at number 8. It says in the graph, triangle STU is the image of triangle PQR after dilation. What was the scale factor? That's the word I was looking for, scale factor. So first of all, we have a dilation. Okay, remember that's either shrinking or growing. And they said STU is the image after dilation. Okay, so that is, if you'll remember, the image goes on top and your pre-image goes on bottom. It's like you're making a fraction. So the way we look at this to find the scale factor, that's how we find the scale factor. We want to pick 2 points that match up. And it looks to me like S matches up with P. So let's get the coordinates for S. The coordinates for S are negative 2, 1. So I've got negative 2, 1. That's my image. Okay, so in other words, that's what happens after the dilation. Now let's read the coordinates for P, because see, S and P match up. So I go left 8, up 4. Left 8, up 4. And that's my pre-image. So let's take a look. Image goes on top. So let's do our x's. So let's do negative 2 over negative 8. What does that reduce to? Well, a positive 1/4. Let's test our y's just to make sure. So we want our image over our pre-image, and that is exactly 1/4. So what is our scale factor? 1/4. And that makes sense because STU is smaller than PQR. So it's 1/4 the size of PQR. Now let's take a look at some rotations. So here we have triangle JKL will be rotated 90 degrees clockwise around the origin. So let's jot that down. 90 degrees clockwise. So what that means is one turn clockwise is to the right. And it says, what will the coordinates be for K prime? So we're going to look at K. So right now the coordinates for K are 8, 2. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. 8, 2. But here's the deal. If I want to rotate clockwise, or one turn to the right, you can't see it, but I actually physically turn this. And when I actually turn it one turn to the right, and I regraph 8, 2, my new coordinates end up being -2, 8. So the way that you do that is you physically turn your paper. See 8, 2, and then I turned it, and again, I wish you could see that. I just turned my paper to the right, and whenever I graph L prime, it ends up, when I turn it back normal, being at -2, 8. So your answer here is C. Let's try another one. For number 10, it says the circle shown will be rotated 180 degrees around the origin. What will the coordinates of the center image be? So first, let's do 180 degrees. Let me try that again. Rotate 180 degrees. Rotate 180 degrees. Rotate means to turn, and 180 degrees is 2 turns. And it wants to know what the coordinates of the center of the circle will be. So first, let's find the center of the circle. So when I do that, I notice it's at -4, 2. -4, 2. Now, if you'll remember, 180 degrees turn, it doesn't matter which direction. So I'm actually turning my iPad 1, 2 turns to the right. And when I do that, let me do it one more time. See, I have to think about it. So 1, 1. Let's see here. Let me get back here. So I go 1, 2 turns to the right, and when I do that and I graph -4, 2, I notice that my point, when I turn it back the normal size, actually ends up at +4, -2. And that makes sense because both of the signs change. And so my answer is B. And then last but not least, let's take a look at number 11. And 9 and 10, the rotations, I'll review that with you when I'm back in class with you on Thursday, because those are a little hard to show you on here. Okay, number 11. So it says the triangle will be reflected across the x-axis and then dilated by a scale factor of 2. What will be the coordinates of G prime? So here they're doing more than one thing. So first, it says they reflect it across the x-axis. So let's write that. Reflect across the x-axis. That just means we flip it across the x-axis. And then dilate by a scale factor of 2. That just means multiply by 2. Multiply your coordinates by 2. All right, so let's do first, and they only want G, so G prime. So let's find the coordinates of G. So to start with, we're at 4, -2. The first thing I want to do is flip across the y-axis. So to start with, I notice that G is down 2, so I want to make it go up 2. So that's my first move. And my new coordinates are at 4, 2. Then to dilate by a scale factor of 2 just means I multiply all those numbers by 2. 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times 2 is 4. So my new coordinates will be 8, 4, which is choice D. So again, all you're doing with transformations is understanding the word, like, are they asking you to translate or slide, rotate or turn, reflect or flip, or dilate, which just means you multiply, and then you find the point they're talking about and do that to it. So I will see you guys on Thursday. Talk to y'all later. Bye.